What's going on, everybody? C4 here today, following up to the season finale, series finale of the Philadelphia Eagles Connected Franchise Mode. And you guys want to see what happens with Carson Wentz when all is said and done. We are now entering, I think, his 11th season. He was set to be a free agent. We're able to retain him. I think it was a 2-year, almost $60 million deal. His cap hit before was $34 million, so that just kind of gives you an idea what the, if Madden is correct and in the right realm, just the kind of contracts these players are going to be getting. So we have Carson Wentz here. Hopefully, we might be able to get 3 more seasons out of him. I hope we can, because we want to try to push some of those passing records, but it's going to be tough with the likes of, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady playing into 15, 16 seasons, but maybe we can make that short list. So not only are we going to follow the path of Carson Wentz, but you also have Christian McCaffrey. I think Jordan Matthews is coming back for another year. So there's a couple other players we could keep tabs on. But the primary reason why this episode exists is because you guys want to see where Carson Wentz is when all is said and done. Now, because we don't have the, the ability to have this is the year, his final year. We're just going to check his final season stats every single year. And then we're going to be surprised the year he finally decides to hang up his cleats. So let's rock and roll and let's get right into that now. Alright, well, we're here at the end of Season 11, trying to just focus on Carson Wentz, and we made the Super Bowl. After, I can't remember the final stretch, I think we lost 3 straight NFC Championship games, which reminds me of a certain quarterback not named Carson Wentz. We made the Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl Dallas. How good would it be to win a Super Bowl here in Dallas's backyard? So before we do that, though, let's look at the final season stats for Mr. Carson Wentz and company. On the year, Carson Wentz, 4,600 passing yards, 38 touchdowns, and 11 picks, leading the Philadelphia Eagles to another Super Bowl appearance, trying to make it 3 on this year's series. Another big year for McCaffrey, 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns. Here's receiving. We had some big-name weapons. We brought back Antonio Callaway. We have this Dwight Mooney, who's an 87 overall. We finally brought in the beast, Mike Evans, O.J. Howard. Really rated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for their talent here. But monster seasons there. Callaway low-key may be able to catch up Jordan Matthews, who was still here for a year. Only 122 yards as the leading all-time Eagles receiver. Quickly on the defensive side of the ball, we brought in this guy, Carson Flynn, who's an absolute animal. 164 tackles. We got 4 sacks. I mean, our edge rush is not great. We still have Trumbetti here, who got 11.5 sacks. And for interceptions, we got 4 picks from Jalen Mills. 3 from Flynn, 3 from Jamal Adams, 3 from Cabral Conrad, 2 from Marlon Humphrey, and look who we also signed. Not nearly as high of an overall as he wants to be, but finally Sidney Jones. We have come full circle. He has returned to the finally joined the Philadelphia Eagles, only 8 years into his career. So looking at the career stats, I guess of Carson Wentz, look at that. That's looking pretty damn good. I think we should be at minimum be able to get 2 more full years out of Carson Wentz. Currently sitting just shy of 50,000 total passing yards, 402 touchdowns, and 138 picks. Let's look at his player card as we head into the Super Bowl. Hopefully he can add another Super Bowl title to that ring. But in terms of awards, he's a 10-time Pro Bowler. Has been Offensive Player of the Week a couple times. Led the league in pass rating twice. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Best QB, 2019 MVP, 2019 Offensive Player of the Year, Best QB, 2023 MVP, Best QB, 2026 MVP, and 2026 Offensive Player of the Year. So we got 3 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl titles, and hopefully we can add right here a 3rd Super Bowl title ring. So we didn't even win the division. Again, 9-7, real close there in the NFC East. And what do we got? Let's go, come on. 1 big win. Come on, give me this shit. Come on, 3 Super Bowls. We deserve it. I think 3 would, that's like, obviously getting 6, becoming the new record holders would be pretty damn cool. That means we'd have to win the next couple. But if we can get 3, I think that I'd be content with having 3 Super Bowl titles throughout this Philadelphia Eagles Connected franchise mode. Great, it gives us a nice basis to go into next season. So, Doug Peterson has decided to retire. What happened in this Super Bowl? I have a bad feeling. Here. Let's look at the team schedule. Oh, give me that Super Bowl. Fuck! Alright, we lost the Super Bowl 28-16 to the Buffalo Bills. But at least it's an improvement. Improvement in the Super Bowl. And hopefully Wentz can get back at it again next season and have a big-time year. So let's see. Let's go to year number 12 of the Philadelphia Eagles Connected Franchise Mode. All right, we are back at season number 12, and there's a couple notes we need to make for the stats, which is pretty much what this is. This is a glorified stats show. Marlon Humphrey, I can't talk. Marlon Humphrey is tied with Brian Dawkins with 34 interceptions for the most in Eagles history. And I think Jalen Mills is at 33. So both those guys could respectively come in number 1 and number 2 for all-time interceptions. And when you're looking at NFL records, Wentz is, I don't know if we're ever going to be able to break into the passing yards. But at passing touchdowns, he's holding the bottom spot, and he can only go up with 402 career passing touchdowns, getting very, very close to the GOAT himself, Dan Marino. We all know now 546 is the new record held by Aaron Rodgers. And then for rushing touchdowns, we got our boy Christian McCaffrey sitting here at number 5, tied for 4 with Devontae Freeman. I would say there's a chance after this season we go to top 3, and with McCaffrey, the way he's going, I think he's regressing fairly not great right now. He's sitting at an 81. We may still be able to, but TJ Yeldon has been... Who would have thought TJ Yeldon and Giovanni Bernard would be as good as they have been? But yes, those are the 3 stats we got to take a look at here in season 12. If we can go back to the Super Bowl, can we? Who knows? We're going to have to wait and find out. All right, here we are at the end of season 12, and unfortunately, we're unable to make a Super Bowl appearance. We're getting old. This team is getting old, but it looks like everyone performed fairly well. We won the NFC East once again with 11-5 record. Let's see what happened with our team. With the Eagles, we went to 1-9, lost to the Lions in the divisional playoffs, 34-24. But at least, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles, under this Carson Wentz tenure here in this Connected Franchise Mode, have absolutely lived in the playoffs. Let's look at the final season stats for Carson Wentz and a couple of the other players and see where they would have got. So Carson Wentz on the year led the league in passing yards with 5,000 passing yards. I think that's the first time we've eclipsed that 5,000 passing yard mark. 33 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. There's a running the ball. Oh shit, okay. 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns for Christian McCaffrey, so we might have not, you know, maintained the pace that we needed to especially get that rushing touchdown record, but he probably would have improved his spot at least once to separate the tie with Freeman, potentially. In terms of receiving, Mike Evans had a nice year. Dwight Mooney had a decent year. O.J. Howard had a big year. Christian McCaffrey, I guess, in terms of all-purpose, has been really, really good for us. And on the defensive side of the ball, Flynn has emerged as a monster. From the sacks front, we didn't get a whole lot. And from interceptions, there we go. Hey, there's the 1 pick. Marlon Humphrey now sitting at 35 career interceptions for the Philadelphia Eagles. The all-time leader in interceptions. We got, you know, 4 picks, 1 pick, 5 picks, 3 picks, 2 picks, 5 picks, 4 picks, 2 picks, 4 picks, 2 picks, and now 1 interception is what has been a great career for Marlon Humphrey. Throwback to win. We actually traded Royce Freeman to land Marlon Humphrey in a big-time trade. Does it mean awards here? He only made the Pro Bowl once. Once again, Philadelphia Eagle defensive backs getting completely underrated here. I guess we will wrap this one up just because now we're getting to the area where these guys could retire at any second. So looking at the NFL record books, Wentz is not there for passing yards, but where do we have him officially? He's sitting at 54,000 career passing yards. And the bottom record is 62. So he's going to need at least 2 seasons to break this list. I think that's probably the max we might get. In terms of passing touchdowns now, look at that. Carson Wentz has passed Blake Bortles, a guy that we kind of get compared to a lot, and Matt Ryan. So we're sitting there at 435. If we get 1 more season out of Wentz, we may have a chance to supplant Tom Brady on the all-time list. It'd be nice to get Wentz to 500 and get that into that illustrious 500 club. But again, I don't necessarily know how long he's going to play for us. He's already signing short-term deals, and usually that is the, you know, beginning of the end. But let's see what happens. There we go. What's the God returning once again to Philadelphia for 1 year? We can keep, you know, this 1 year brigade keep going for a couple more seasons. I'll be fine with that. And now we're at the end of season number 13. And we unfortunately did make the Super Bowl. See the Giants and Jags, so literally a Super Bowl of who gives a shit. And look, this is like the beginning of the end here, people. We're 6-10 bottom dwellers in the NFC East. What are Wentz's stats looking like? Still, oh, okay. Wentz is still balling out for us. That's all we need to know. 4,600 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. That may be the most touchdowns we've ever had in his career. Let's take a look. 42. We had 44 in 2019, 42 in 2023. So we're tied for the second most passing touchdowns in his entire career for Mr. Carson Wentz. And only 9 picks, so maybe he's starting to get like a fine wine, better with age. Running the ball, we get 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns from Christian McCaffrey. Receiving, nothing too spectacular. We brought in Corey Coleman as a free agent. Mooney's been really solid for us. Callaway, again, big year here, 1,100 yards, 12 touchdowns. Let's look at his final stats for his career, man. He's been balling out for us. Actually, we'll just check that when we do it at the very end of the video. And on the defensive side of the ball, Flynn has been a monster. But we're not getting any pressure at the quarterback. 6.5 sacks for Jihad Ward. We signed as a mercenary via free agency. And for interceptions, we got 6 picks from Jalen Ramsey, 5 from Honey Badger, 4 from Tease Tabor, and 4 from Jamal Adams. Marlon Humphrey added another interception to go 2 above Brian Dawkins for leading the Philadelphia Eagles franchise all-time interceptions leader. So let's look here at the career stats of some of the guys here. We'll check McCaffrey, 15,000, almost 16,000 rushing yards and 164 touchdowns. In terms of receiving, we got obviously these guys. Callaway did a lot of his work, not with the Philadelphia Eagles, but look at Antonio Callaway. Sorry, Coleman didn't. Callaway, 965 catches, 11,000 yards and 95 touchdowns. McCaffrey on top of, what do we got? All-purpose yards. He's closing it. Oh, is that over 2,000 now? 5, 4, 5. And 5-8. We're over 20,000 all-purpose yards for Christian McCaffrey. He's 164 rushing touchdowns to go along with 43 receiving touchdowns. So that sets us with over 20,000 total yards and 200 total touchdowns for McCaffrey. I think that's Hall of Fame bound, I believe. Did I get my picks messed up? I must have got my interceptions messed up. So now Marlon Humphrey, as I've been lying, is tied with Brian Dawkins for the all-time interception leader. I didn't know I got those messed up. But my God, look at Jalen Ramsey, 55. Tease Tabor, 56. Whew. Those are pretty big numbers right there. Look at the NFL record books because I don't know. I have a feeling this may here be the season that the guys decide to retire a little bit. So in terms of passing yards, ooh, he's not on that list yet. In terms of passing touchdowns, Carson Wentz has moved ahead of Tom Brady, sitting at 477. I know Russell Wilson still is playing, which is kind of surprising. Everyone else up here has retired. So, an ongoing battle. But I think we can get one more year. 500 touchdowns for Carson Wentz is within the books. In terms of rushing yards, Todd Gurley is now the #1 all-time leading rusher. He was still available in-game. He was a free agent. I thought about bringing him in, but more so I want to keep Christian McCaffrey on the books and see where we can get him in terms of stats. And there he goes. He is now surpassed the greatest running back in the history of football, Barry Sanders, for I think this is 10. So number 9 on the all-time rushing yards leader list. We got, in terms of rushing touchdowns, he's now number 3 with 164. If we can get one more season out of Christian McCaffrey, which is a big maybe, I think that we could get the 5 touchdowns needed to be the all-time leader in rushing touchdowns. I think that'd be fucking dope. All right, let's see what we can do here. Going into 14, can we get 14 seasons here out of Carson Wentz and Christian McCaffrey? We'll go and sim and see what happens. All right, as you can see from the storyline, Christian McCaffrey has announced his decision to retire from the NFL. But one hell of a career we're in. We got so close to breaking the all-time rushing touchdown mark with him 4 shy. Tied for second all-time in NFL history with 164 rushing touchdowns. And we were able to come number 9 in all-time rushing yards. But look at this. We got Carson Wentz ready to negotiate. We can bring him back on one more season. Look, Tease Table retires. We have lots of turnover. But we were a 6-10 team last season. We're going to have to make some moves here as Todd Gurley also retires. Make some moves to try to at least win the NFC East for, I don't even know, we're going to year 13, so I think we've won it 11 times out of 13 seasons. Let's make it 12 times out of 14 years. So we'll be right back as we get ready for season number 14. All right, 15 years. Is this 15 or 14? I may have got ahead of myself. How many more years we got? What is this been here? 13. So this is year 14. 14 years. Can we get 15 years? Can I take anyone up on 15 years with Carson Wentz? Oh, gonna be a close one. We're gonna see. I think if I'm putting money on it, I think this is gonna be the final season. But we'll see what we can do. Look at that, Jamario McNabb, awesome name, and the little news story there. But year 14, can we not at least at very bottom, not be bottom dwellers on the NFC East? I hope so. Let's wait and see. So we're here at the end of season number 14. It looks like it's a Bucs-Jags Super Bowl. The Jags are dominant. And once again, we're bottom dwellers of the NFC. It's good. All good things come to an end. But as long as it's not Carson Wentz, we'll keep rocking and rolling and punching this franchise. And it's a bit of a down year. 4,300 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, and 19 picks. Get a little bit up there in age. I've got a bunch of new guys here. Knox at running back, wide receiver. We got Mike Williams. We brought in Mike Williams from Clemson. Kind of another mercenary role, 1,200 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, Flynn's been a monster for us. That's been good. We got 6 sacks there. We get Marlon Humphrey do anything. Another pick to add to Marlon Humphrey's record. So now he officially has 35 interceptions. So he's now officially the lead interception player. I don't know. What's the proper way to describe that? He has the most picks in the history of Philadelphia. We'll put it that way. Looking at the NFL records, Carson Wentz. Hey, we finally made it. Carson Wentz is now number 10 all-time in career passing yards. And for career passing touchdowns, he has gone past Russell Wilson. He has gone past Ben Roethlisberger. And he is sitting at 507 total career passing touchdowns. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that Brett Favre is his favorite player, his favorite quarterback of all time. We're one away from that. I don't know if we're going to get another season out of him, but if we can get one more year out of Carson Wentz, there is a chance we can move to second all-time in passing touchdowns. How likely that's going to be, I'm not too sure. But look at that, 63,000 total passing yards, 507 touchdowns, and 179 interceptions to go along with 2,500 rushing yards and almost 30 rushing touchdowns. It's been one hell of a career here for Carson Wentz. And I definitely know in comparison to the likes of Peyton Manning and all those guys, there aren't dual threats. And maybe Aaron Rodgers, obviously, I actually probably think obviously Aaron Rodgers will have a decent amount of rushing touchdowns. But I know if you compare Wentz with Peyton Manning, and I would even say Brett Favre, he probably has more total touchdowns in his career right now than any of those guys. But yeah, really, Wentz is the last one standing. We're going to sim to the offseason and see if we can bring him back for another season. I have a gut feeling it's not, but we will do it, and we'll talk about his retirement either way if that unfortunately happens this offseason. So Wentz deciding what to do. Didn't want to come back, but we franchise tagged him. So we're getting a full 15 seasons out of Carson Wentz. Let's go. Here we are, going into the 15th season of the Philadelphia Eagles Connected Franchise Mode, led by our leader, 95 overall, Carson Wentz. We were sitting on, I think it was crazy amounts of XP, so we're able to get him back up into the 90s. No longer a 99, which kind of sucks, but being 37, 38, and still a 95 overall, I mean, he's in that Tom Brady, Drew Brees territory. Let's see what we can do here, maybe we can get another year out of Carson Wentz, but 15 seems like that'd be a nice round number. But let's see what we can do here. Come on, at least not be last in the NFC East would be nice. And here we are at the end of season 15. It looks like the Falcons and the Broncos in the Super Bowl, but just, come on, not last in the NFC East. There we go. 3-way tie. Once again, the NFC East getting competitive. 3-way tie for the 9-7 for the second spot. 10-6, the Redskins got it. But more importantly, what did Carson Wentz do this season? We got 4,600 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, and 12 picks. So that's, that's not amazing, not bad. That's about, average, if you will, for Carson Wentz. And the record books, which is what we're really watching Wentz is now 7th all-time in terms of passing yards, right behind Ben Roethlisberger and Aaron Rodgers. Very surprising that Blake Bortles is 3,000 yards to the good, the all-time passing yards leader. I guess we could do a deep dive. Cam Newton, I guess that also could be considered kind of surprising. Finished his career with the Colts, as a lot of legends do. They always have those couple seasons at the end where they're not with their home team. But look at that, 66,000 passing yards for Cam Newton. Maybe even more surprising than the 68,000 we got for Carson Wentz, and Blake Bortles being the all-time passing leader. In terms of passing touchdowns, Wentz has now supplanted Brett Favre, Drew Brees for number 3 all-time in passing touchdowns. We're 1 behind Peyton Manning. We're about a season behind Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get a final year out of Wentz here. 15 may be it. We will take a final look at his old player card to see where everything is with that regard. But looking really good here for Carson Wentz. I kind of want to do a deep dive of the actual stats. You know what we're going to do? How about this? We will go check out the player card for Carson Wentz. We'll go to the offseason, see if he wants to come back for another season, and then we'll rock and roll. And if he does decide to retire, I will finish up this series by breaking into the NFL records and seeing all the new record holders, as I assume that's probably something you guys want to see. But Wentz is now number 3 for passing touchdowns, and made himself right up there behind Ben Roethlisberger in passing yards with 68,000. Unbelievable. Wentz is coming back for 16 seasons. Let's get it. 1 more year, rock and roll. I started recording this video assuming it was going to be like, maybe 2 more years. We're going into year 16. That's hype. Let's get it. All right, here we go. Gearing up for season 16 of the Philadelphia Eagles Connected Franchise Mode. Wentz sitting with a 93 overall. His supporting cast not as good as it has been. I mean, we got a bunch of 80s. Everything's pretty much an 80. We got an 86 overall right guard. Sword. Defensive side of the ball. I mean, defense is looking decent. Again, this is not this. We're down into the bottom tier. But year 16, it's all about Carson Wentz. And this year, we may be able to get the all-time passing touchdown leader mark. I think we're a little bit off in terms of passing yards, but who knows? Wentz just seems like he doesn't want to retire. This may not be the last season. Who knows? Let's see what happens at the end of season 16. Here we are at the end of season 16. It looks like it's a Cowboys-Raiders Super Bowl, which probably doesn't fare too well for our Philadelphia Eagles. We finished second, tied for second in the NFC East with a 9-7 record. Did we make the playoffs? Unfortunately, we did not, which sucks. But we're in 2031. Let's look at Carson Wentz. Let's look at the stats. So on the year, Carson Wentz finished with 4,300 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions, which is a good year for Carson Wentz, which should help him propel himself to the top of these NFL record books. Now, in terms of career passing yards, Blake Bortles is still playing? The fuck? All right, well, Carson Wentz is now number 2 behind Blake Bortles, who's now the all-time leader. And Drew Brees here, 43,000. 72,000 career passing yards for Carson Wentz has now passed the likes of Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, legends. But in terms of passing touchdowns, Blake Bortles well behind Carson Wentz, who's now the all-time leader in passing touchdowns with 575. Mother of God. And I don't even want to try to go into a deep dive because he may want to come back for another season. But what I do want to see, because I'm very, very intrigued, is what in the hell is Blake Bortles doing down there in Jacksonville? Where is he even? Where the hell's Blake Bortles at? I assume let's just go to passing yards. I guarantee he's still dominating. Baker Mayfield has actually been very, very good throughout his career. But Blake Bortles is now with the Titans in his 18th season. If only we could be so lucky. Look at his stats here. What is Blake Bortles? Any godly seasons. Basically just averaged 30-some touchdowns for a bunch of years. He's never had a year better than Carson Wentz, but he's had a little bit more longevity. If we can get 18 years out of Carson Wentz, then we're still going to be here for quite some time. But Blake Bortles, yes, the all-time leader in passing yards, but Wentz, now the all-time leader in passing touchdowns. Let's take a quick look at his card in case this is the final season. His awards. We got 11 Pro Bowls. We got 3 MVP. What has he done since then? We got 20. Oh my God, 3 MVP awards. It's nasty. It's absolutely nasty here for Carson Wentz. But we're gonna get one more year out of the guy. Let's go to the offseason and see what happens in free agency. Because right now he's been, for the last like 3-4 years, he's only signed 1-year deals. Why not? Why not year 17? 39-year-old Carson Wentz coming back for year 17. The fuck? So here we are, getting ready for the 17th season of the Philadelphia Eagles Connected Franchise Mode, and our team's shit. We have an absolute terrible team around Carson Wentz. 70s, 80s, not looking good. I'm kind of worried that the fact that the team around was not so great, we may not be able to challenge for some of these top passing records. But let's see what we can do here at the end of year 17. So here we are at the end of year 17. I've come back to re-edit because this is in fact the final year of Carson Wentz's career. And we didn't end on a top note his final year. Still a 91 overall, but we finished with a 5-11 record on the season. You can see Wentz no longer the kind of monster. He's finally hitting that wall. I guess at 40 years old, you hit that. 3,900 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions for final career stats. We'll take a look at all that stuff. But in terms of NFL record holders, Wentz is now number 2 all-time in passing yards to Blake Bortles. He is now number 1 still all-time in passing yards. 600, the only quarterback in history to throw for 600 career passing touchdowns. And that's he has like over 50 more. That's my great math goes over 50 more than Aaron Rodgers. That big of a gap to go along with 2 Super Bowl titles and 3 MVPs, in my opinion, makes Carson Wentz the greatest quarterback in the history of football. Because I said I would take a deep dive quickly at all these records to see who did what as we wrap up this video. As we see, Blake Bortles is now the number 1 all-time leading passer. Wentz is number 2. Drew Brees moved to number 3. Rodgers is there. Baker Mayfield of the Titans spent a bunch of time. He was eventually Drew Brees' replacement. That's how he started out in New Orleans. Got himself on this list with 67,000. In terms of passing touchdowns, Wentz is number 1. Rodgers number 2. Bortles, Mayfield. Jared Goff found his way on the list with 484. Russell Wilson's there with 489 as well. In terms of rushing yards, Todd Gurley is now the all-time leader, just squeaking out Ezekiel Elliott for about 500 yards for the all-time rushing yard leader. Le'Veon Bell's number 3. Giovanni Bernard at number 6 is incredibly surprising. Or number 5, sorry, is incredibly surprising. We have Freeman here. Thorne, who's a creative guy. Short, who's a creative guy, have made this list as well. In terms of rushing touchdowns, TJ Yeldon with 168. We have S. Morrison, a creative guy for the Browns, probably pretty close there. Christian McCaffrey got 164 for us in the Philadelphia Eagles. Todd Gurley sitting there with 162. So I think right now it's safe to say that Todd Gurley is the greatest running back, at least statistically now, being the all-time rushing yard leader. And he not only retired, I think about 2 seasons ago, but being only 6 off the all-time record for touchdowns. Gurley's probably the best. In terms of receiving yards, still no one has been able to catch up to Jerry Rice. That's a record that probably will never be broken. But look, Brandon Cooks tried his hardest with 17,000. We got 16,000 from Hopkins, 16,000 from Allen Robinson, Antonio Brown, 15,000, Fitz, 15,000, making the list. In terms of receiving touchdowns, again, no one's ever really got close to Jerry Rice's 197. Gronk tried, got to 138. Brandon Cooks, 130. Odell, 112. And Larry Fitzgerald, 110. In terms of catches, again, no, I mean, I guess you could say when all said and done, Brandon Cooks got pretty close. We had Mike Williams for a little bit in Philadelphia. I think we only had him for 2 seasons. He spent a predominantly big part of his career with the Chargers. He got 1,200, which is not bad. Defensive sacks, Bruce Smith, we all know, inflated stats over the greatest player of all time, Reggie White. I think incredible offense that it says Green Packers here for Reggie White. He was an Eagle. Aaron Donald got kind of close, 190 total sacks. J.J. Watt, 181. Joey Bosa, a.k.a. the most overpowered player in the Madden franchise this season, 177. Cameron Jordan of the Saints, 147. In terms of interceptions, not. Quincy Wilson got to 72. Florida Gator legend. That's good to see that. Outside of that, Sherman got to 64, but interceptions usually are fairly low. In terms of, let's just see if anyone broke some crazy stats. P. White in 2032 almost broke the passing yards in a game. Passing touchdowns in a game, no one broke that. Rushing yards in a game, no one broke that. No one broke that. No one broke that. No one broke that. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna have very many single game records. Oh no, single season records. Passing yards still owned by Peyton Manning. Passing touchdowns still owned by Peyton Manning. Did anyone even get close? This K. White guy is a monster, I guess. Rushing yards, Dickerson, no one broke that. Rushing touchdowns, no one broke that. Receiving yards, nope. Receiving touchdowns, nope. Catches, nope. Sacks. Fletcher Cox, better believe that. That 28 sacks for Fletcher Cox. Donald got close in 2019 with 27. But you ain't breaking that, man. Fletcher Cox, we still have that to hang our hat on. And for interceptions, still Night Train Lane. What a god. So, that will end this one up. Let's just go here with the career touchdowns. Carson Wentz, we have solidified him as the greatest football player in the history of the game. I hope you guys did enjoy the Philadelphia Eagles Connected Franchise Mode as much as I had making it. This was, this actually turned out to be quite a long episode, but it's for not being, the series finale. But thank you guys for tuning in. Can't wait, and I hope you guys are hyped for the Madden 18. Even though Madden 18, especially, in terms of Connected Franchise Mode, isn't giving us a lot to get excited for. I hope you guys are ready and gotta be as hype as I am to do another Philadelphia Eagles Connected Franchise Mode. And if you guys like this approach of just simulating a bunch of years into the future and see where guys go, I mean, we still have the Toronto Huskies Connected Franchise Mode, so you think that's a good way to end that series as well before Madden 18 jumps into it, I will certainly take that approach. So let me know in the comment section below. If this is your first time stopping by, please subscribe. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace